أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 120, Surah Hud, ayah number 84 to 101. وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ, and to Madyan, أَخَاهُمْ, their brother, Shu'ayban, Shu'ayb alayhi salam. Meaning, وَأَرْسَلْنَا, and we sent to Madyan, the tribe of Madyan, their brother Shu'ayb alayhi salam as a messenger. Madyan, we have learned about it earlier as well, in Surah Al-A'raf in ayah number 85, that Madyan was the name of an Arab tribe. And the name Madyan comes from the word Madyan. And who was Madyan? The son of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam had many sons, of them was who? Madyan. And his descendants were known as the people of Madyan, the tribe of Madyan. And the area that they used to live in, that area is also known as Madyan. So what does the word Madyan apply to? The tribe, as well as the place that they used to live in. Now where is this place? It is between Hijaz, the area of Hijaz, Arabia, and Ash-Sham. And where is Ash-Sham? Where Palestine, Jerusalem, etc. are. And these people, the people of Madyan, they were on the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salam for about 500 years. Just like the Bani Ismail, they were also upon the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam for quite some time. But then after some time, what happened? They started doing shirk. Similarly, these people as well, they were upon the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam for about 500 years, but soon after, they began practicing many evils. And these people were excelling in trade, in business. So who were they? Businessmen. And much of their vices, much of the evil that they did was with regards to business. Meaning they used to cheat one another. They didn't used to give each other's rights in full. So وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ, and to Madyan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent أَخَاهُمْ, their brother. What does it mean by their brother? He was one of them. He belonged to the same tribe, the tribe of Madyan. And it is said that he was the most noble of them in lineage. He was the most noble of them in lineage. Because remember that even within a tribe, there are sub-tribes. And some sub-tribes are more noble than the other. They are more superior than the other. Just like the Prophet ﷺ, he was of the Quraysh. And of the Quraysh, he was of the Banu Hashim. So, that was more superior compared to other tribes. Shu'ayb alayhi salam as well, he was one of the most noblest people with regards to his lineage amongst his nation. So qala, he said, Ya qawmi, O my people, u'budullaha, worship Allah. Why? Because that is the purpose of your creation. That is why you have been sent to this world. That is why you're living. That is why you have been given life. You're supposed to be worshipping Allah. And u'budullaha also means worship only Him. Abstain from shirk. Refrain from shirk. Do not associate any partners with Him. And what does it mean by ibadah? What does it mean by ibadah? We discussed the meaning of the word ibadah earlier on. What does it mean, literally? Humility. Remember? Humility and submissiveness. Al-khudu' wa-tadallu. To show humility and submissiveness. Before who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So ibadah then does not just mean that a person prays the salah, but what does it mean? That whatever Allah has commanded, a person accepts those commands, he performs them. And whatever Allah has forbidden, a person refrains from that. And any action that Allah likes, any action that Allah approves of, a person does that. So u'budullaha, live your life according to the commands of Allah. U'budullaha, worship Allah. Why worship Allah? Because مَا لَكُمْ, there is not for you min ilahin, any other God, غَيْرُهُ, other than Him. In reality, the only God you have is who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if there are any other gods that you believe in, they have no reality to them. They are completely false. There is no basis. وَلَا تَنْقُصُوا, and do not reduce. الْمِكْيَالَ, the measure, وَالْمِيزَانَ, and the weight. As I mentioned to you that these people were businessmen. And all of the prophets, as we have learned in the previous incidents, that all of the prophets, they invited the people to Tawheed, to believe and worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And secondly, they also corrected the mistakes of the people. Meaning, a particular mistake, a particular sin that the people were involved in, the messenger also rectified that. Like for example, we learned earlier about the people of Lut, alayhi salam. They were told to abstain from shirk, and at the same time, the particular evil that they were involved in, they were forbidden from that as well. So Shu'ayb alayhi salam, he invited the people to Tawheed, and at the same time, he also told them what to abstain from. He corrected the mistake, the sin that was very common in that society. That la tanqusu. Tanqusu is from the root letters Noon, Qaf, Sad, Naqs, which is to reduce, to diminish. So do not diminish, do not decrease al-mikyala, al-mizana. If you look at the word mikyal, mizan, do they sound the same? They do. And alhamdulillah, now that you're learning about ilm al-ishtiqaq, you know that nouns, they have structures. Right? So the words mikyal and mizan, even they have structures. What do you think it is? If I tell you the root, kaf ya lam. Mif'al. Mif'al. And mif'al, this is ism ala. What does it mean by ism ala? It's a tool through which an action is performed. Ala is actually used for a tool, like for example a hammer or a chainsaw or something like that. So it's a tool through which an action is performed. Kail, kaf ya lam, what does kail mean? To measure. So mikyal is the tool, the instrument through which something is measured. And as we learned earlier, that kail in particular is used for measuring the length or the volume of something. So for example, a ruler is what? Mikyal. Why? Because you use it to measure the length of something. Similarly, measuring tape, that is also what? Mikyal. Similarly, it is used to measure volume. So for example, a cup, half a cup. Okay? This is what? Mikyal. You know when you're baking, you measure the teaspoon, the tablespoon, the cup, the half a cup. This is all mikyal. So mikyal is an instrument through which you can measure volume, through which you can measure length. And mizan is from the root letters waw, zay, noon. What does wazn mean? Weight. So mizan, mif'al, is the instrument through which you weigh something, through which you know the weight of something. So for example, a scale. You put some meat on it, some butter on it, and it tells you this is how much it weighs. This many grams, this many pounds, etc. So لا تنقصوا المكيال والميزان. Do not reduce the measure and the weight. What does it mean by this? Meaning when you measure something in length or in volume, make sure you do it to the full. Don't reduce it. For example, if you're measuring a cup, don't make it 3/4. Don't make it below the line. Make sure that it reaches the line. Because some people are not that careful when they're measuring. Because sometimes it doesn't really affect their cooking. But with regards to some foods, you have to be very particular. If you increase or decrease even slightly, it's really going to affect your outcome. So لا تنقصوا المكيال والميزان. Similarly, when you're weighing, when you're using a scale to weigh something, make sure you do it to its full. Do not reduce it. Because these people, when they would trade, they would cheat a lot. These people would cheat a lot in weighing, in measuring things when buying or selling. Inni, indeed I. Arakum, I see you. Shu'ayb a.s. says to them that indeed I see you bi khairin, with good. What does khair mean? The word khair is also used for wealth. So I see you with a lot of wealth. What does it mean by this? Inni arakum bi khairin. That first of all, why do you need to cheat? Why do you need to adopt unfair means to earn more money? Why do you need to do that? You already have so much wealth. Alhamdulillah, what you have is plenty. What is the greed about? Why should you cheat? Because if you look at it generally, people adopt unfair means to obtain money. Why? when they are suffering, when they need more money, when they need more profits. Isn't it so? And although it is not justified, although it is not permissible, still if a person is really falling short on his money and he desperately needs money, and if he adopts unfair means, then the punishment is reduced for such a person. You know that? Like for example, if in the time of famine, a person out of desperation, he goes and commits theft, then the punishment is going to be reduced. Similarly, if a person commits theft of something that is of some food or of somebody else's money out of extreme hunger, out of extreme poverty, then even that is okay in the sense that the punishment is not as severe. However, if a person has plenty, if a person has enough, but still he is cheating others, still he is adopting unfair means, then is that justified at all? It's not justified. So he's saying that, Inni arakum bi khayr. I see you with so much good, with so much wealth. Why do you need to cheat? You're cheating, you're adopting unfair means is not justified at all. Secondly, Inni arakum bi khayr has been understood as that you have the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with so much good. Not just wealth, but power, ability, resources, money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you so much. Now, it does not suit you that you should respond to His favors. How? By cheating. By adopting unfair means. It does not suit you to do that. So first of all, why is He saying this? That you don't need to cheat. And secondly, Allah has blessed you so much. Why are you responding to His favors by disobedience? By cheating other people. Inni arakum bi khayr. Wa inni akhafu alaykum. And indeed I fear upon you. Adaba yawmin muhit. The punishment of an encompassing day. Muhit is from the root letters ha, wal, ta. Ihata. And ihata is to encircle something fully, so that what is inside cannot escape, cannot get out. So I fear for you the punishment of an encompassing day, meaning a punishment that is going to encompass you, that is going to encircle you, and you will not be able to escape it. You will not be able to avoid it. I fear for you that if you do not change your ways, such a punishment is going to befall you. So in this ayah, Shu'ayb alayhi salam is warning the people that Allah has given you so much good. He has given you so much prosperity. Do not exchange it for punishment. Allah has given you khair. Do not exchange it for what? Adab yawmin muhit. Don't exchange it with the punishment that is going to encircle you. Allah has blessed you with so many blessings, affluence. Value it. And do not adopt unfair means, because you might face the punishment for that in this dunya even. We learn in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, ayah number 1 to 6, that وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ. Woe to those people who give less than due. Who give less than due. Mutaffifin. Who are they? That الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ. Who, when they take a measure from people, they take it in full. When it comes to taking something from the people, they make sure they're getting it 100%. They take it in full. For example, if a person is being paid his check, he will make sure that he's getting every cent. He will not even give up on 1 or 2 cents. وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ. But if they give by measure or weight to them, they cause loss. When it comes to giving to other people, they cause loss. For example, when it comes to receiving the check, a person is very careful. I deserve this much money with this many cents. But when it comes to doing the work, he will skip an hour here, he will skip a few minutes there, he will skip a day here, he will skip a project here. This is what? Imbalance in giving and in taking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ. Do they not think that they will be resurrected? Do they think that they will not be questioned? They are going to be questioned. They are going to be resurrected. لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ. For a tremendous day. يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. The day when mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds. So in this ayah, although the people of Shu'ayb alayhi salam were being addressed, but in this is a lesson for us as well. That we have to be careful. That if Allah has given us so many blessings, why should we cheat other people? Why should we adopt unfair means to get a few cents more out of people? Why should we have different standards for ourselves and for other people? When it comes to taking a haqq, we're very particular. But when it comes to giving something, we're not that particular. If a person does this, then there is warning in this ayah for such a person. That you might be exchanging your prosperity with punishment. وَيَا قَوْمِ, and O my people, أَوْفُوا الْمِكْيَالَ وَالْمِيزَانَ بِالْقِسْطِ, give full measure and weight in justice. What does it mean by this? In the previous ayah, the prohibition of cheating was mentioned. لَا تَنْقُصُوا, do not reduce. So over there, prohibition was mentioned. And in this ayah, the command is being given in another way, in the affirmative. In the previous ayah, what was mentioned? Do not do this. In this ayah, what is mentioned? Do this. So if you're not allowed to reduce, then what are you supposed to do? Awfu, fulfill. Give it in full. Fully give it. Awfu from the root letters, wafa. Wafa is to give something in full, to not reduce at all. So fulfill al-mikyala wal-mizana, the measure and the weight, bil-qist, with the justice. Meaning fulfill both of them in justice. And after justice in weight and measure, what is said? That وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ, and do not deprive the people of their due. لَا تَبْخَسُوا. تَبْخَسُوا is from the root letters ba, kha, sin, bakhs. And bakhs is also to reduce. Basically, it is to not give the haqq of someone. Do not give to someone what they deserve, what is rightfully theirs. So, لَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Ashya is the plural of shay'. Wallahu ala kulli shay'in. So, shay'. Plural is ashya. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. What does it mean by this? That do not reduce the people their due. The things that belong to people, do not reduce them. When it comes to buying and selling, when it comes to different types of commodities, different types of things that are sold, they are sold in different ways. First of all, according to measure, according to length or volume. And for that, the word that is used is kail, mikyal. Like for example, you give 1 sack of such and such, or you give 5 meters of such and such. Secondly, things are sold according to weight. Like for example, you buy a packet of chips and it says, this is how much it weighs. Similarly, you buy, for example, butter or something solid, and it tells you the weight. For example, grams, kilograms are written on the packaging. And thirdly, things are sold according to their number. Firstly, it's according to measure. Secondly, it's according to weight. And thirdly, it's according to number. Some things they can be measured. Other things they can be weighed. But other things they can only be counted. Like for example, if you go buy a piece of furniture. For example, you go buy 3 chairs. Are you going to measure all of them? Are you going to weigh all of them? No. How are you going to buy it? Per piece. That this piece costs this much money. So if you're going to buy 3 pieces, this is how much the total is going to be. So لَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. What does it mean? That when you are selling something to people according to their number, then do not reduce the number. That you sell them 3 pieces. You take the price for 3 pieces, but in reality you give them only how much? 2 pieces. Similarly, you say that in a particular packaging, there will be a certain amount of, let's say, socks, or a certain amount of linens or something like that. But when the person goes and opens up that packaging, he finds less. So, لَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not reduce the people their things. Even this was a very common practice amongst the people of Shu'ayb a.s. Because if you look at it, if a person cheats here, if a person cheats there, he doesn't give one thing and he takes the price of another thing, he thinks that he is making more money. He is making more money, more than the Prophet. So they're being told, do not reduce in this sense. Secondly, لَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ has also been understood as that do not reduce the haqq of other people. Do not reduce the rights of other people. So this can be understood in the intangible sense as well. That every person deserves some right. Every person, depending on the relationship that they have with you, they deserve some right. For example, as a parent, as a child, as a spouse, as a neighbor, as a friend, as an employer, as an employee, people deserve different rights. So لا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم, meaning the rights that people deserve, make sure you give them in full. أعطي كل ذي حق حقه. Give every deserver of right his haqq, meaning the haqq that he deserves. So لا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم. ولا تعثوا في الأرض, and do not commit abuse in the earth as mufsideen, as ones who spread mischief. The word ta'thaw is from the root letters ayn, sa, waw. And also from the root letters ayn, ya, sa. It's from both root letters. If you take it from the word ayn, sa, waw, it is used for intangible fasad. What is it used for? Intangible fasad. Fasad that cannot be seen, that is not physical. Or fasad that is hidden. Either intangible or hidden. And literally this word is used for when an insect, it consumes cotton. Like for example, a silverfish or a similar insect. What does it do? It consumes cotton or some fabric. Just imagine you've put a suitcase full of clothes in the basement, and you go there next year after the winter, and you open up the suitcase and you find out that all of them, they have holes in them. Or the bag has been eaten up from the side, and you wonder what happened. So you never realized that something like this could happen. It was hidden from you. This is what ayn sa waw means. Fasad that is hidden, fasad that is intangible, that a person was not expecting, that is behind the scenes. And only when he opens it, then he sees all the fasad that has been done. He had no idea that all of his clothes were being ruined. And when he goes and opens it, then he finds out that every single piece was destroyed. Similarly, just imagine a house that has been attacked by termites, that is being consumed by termites. On the apparent, the wall seems fine. But let's say a child, he trips over something and he falls, and all of a sudden his hand goes through the wall. And you realize that the walls have been eaten up from inside by termites. Or for example, you open up a door that is wooden and it comes in your hand. Literally, it comes in your hand. It happened with me once. And when we saw, it was covered in termites. Covered. And people don't expect such fasad at all. This is what ayn sa waw means. Fasad that is hidden, that cannot be seen, that is behind the scenes, that is intangible as well. For example, in relationships. Secondly, the word ta'thaw is from the root letters ayn yasa. And aith is used for apparent or physical fasad. Apparent or physical fasad. Like for example, pollution. It's physical. It can be seen by people. When people are dumping, when people are throwing garbage out of their cars onto the streets. This is what? Fasad that is tangible, that is physical, that can be seen. Sometimes in winter, the snow has covered everything. And as the snow is melting, you see all the garbage coming out. This is what? Physical, tangible, apparent fasad. What else? Murder. Murder is what? Fasad. It's physical, it's apparent. Similarly, theft, breaking someone's window. This is what? Fasad. So he tells them that لا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين, do not commit abuse in the earth as mischief makers. As mischief makers. Because the person who does ais or so, who is he? He's a mufsid. Who is he? He's a mufsid. So the two words over here, لا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. Mufsideen is one who is doing ais or so. Tangible or intangible fasad. Now why is he mentioning this? Because when a person cheats the other, when a person reduces the haqq of the other, whether tangible or intangible, whether openly or secretly, he's cheating the other person. He is overcharging the other person. He is stealing the property of the other person. What is this? This is corruption. So primarily this is in the context of business, but not just in the context of business, buying and selling, but in the general sense as well, that do not commit fasad in the earth. Do not be those people who spread corruption in the earth. It is also said that the people of Shu'ayb a.s., they used to practice highway robbery. What does that mean? That people who are traveling, they would go and loot them. And remember, these people were businessmen. And right by Madyan was a place where people from all over that entire area would come and they would buy and sell. So it was like a business market, literally. So people would come, and as they would come and leave, the people of Shu'ayb a.s., the locals, what would they do? They would attack them. And they would take their money. They would steal their profits. So لَا تَعْثَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ مُفْسِدِينَ. So over here we see that Shu'ayb a.s., he commands the people that they must fulfill the rights of others. When it comes to buying and selling, and also when it comes to giving the rights of other people. And this is something that we all need to reflect upon as well. That as people, all of us play different roles. And other people are related to us in some connection or the other. And each person has some haqq. And we have to see, are we giving them the haqq that they deserve? The spouse, the child, the parent. And all of us, we do fall short because we're human beings. But at the end of the day, we must realize that we need to improve. Because it's not possible that every person is perfect, that all the time he's giving the huquq of every single person. It's difficult, it's challenging. Especially when a person has a lot in his plate. However, a person should always be open to improvement. He should always be thinking that, yes, I need to give them more haqq. Not that a person is always concerned about what is my right, but he should be concerned about his duties as well. And also, another very important lesson, that when it comes to giving to the other people what they deserve, we have to be very careful. For example, if we have been employed by someone to do some work, then what is our responsibility? That we must complete the work. We must complete the work. Whether we have been employed or we are doing that work voluntarily. Once we have committed, then we have to make sure we do the work completely and properly without causing any loss to the other person. For example, a person is hired to shovel someone's driveway and also salt it. What do? They leave certain patches. They only do from the middle. They leave the snowbank at the end. Or they leave the front porch completely. Or for example, when it comes to salting the driveway, they don't salt it properly. They put very less salt. What's going to happen as a result? You get your money for the work that you did, but did you do your work properly? No, you didn't. Aren't you causing loss to someone? Of course you are. Similarly, a person works for another on a contract basis. And he is required to spend a certain amount of hours for a certain project, but he doesn't spend that time, and he doesn't even complete that work. He leaves something here, he leaves something there. We have to be very careful. Similarly, if we have been given an assignment, and it's due within a week, within 2 weeks, and what does it mean? What does it mean? That we have to give it at time. We cannot delay it. Because if we delay it, then what's happening? We're causing loss to other people. If we have been given some responsibility, some work, some homework, doing the lesson 7 times, doing some activity, then we are responsible. And if we don't do it, we are committing injustice against other people. Because other people, their time is going, their effort is going. Just because of our laziness, just because of our negligence. So we have to become very careful when it comes to giving the rights of other people. And remember that if a person falls short in one place, then what happens? He develops his habit. He develops his habit. That one day he doesn't do one homework, the other day he doesn't do one assignment, the other day he doesn't do the lesson, the other day he doesn't go to class on time, the other day he leaves class early, the other day he goes to groups late. This is what? It becomes a habit then. It becomes a nature of a person. And this is a very, very bad habit. It's not professional at all. It's not professional at all. And it does not make a person successful. He might think that he's getting away. He might think that he's getting successful, but in reality he's not getting successful. And this is obvious when a person sees his results. When a person sees his percentage, when a person sees his end result of the tests, of the assignments, of the attendance, then it comes in front of them. So we have to be very careful that when it comes to giving the rights of other people, we have to be particular with every single thing. We have to try our best, because if we neglect in one place, then we will end up neglecting at another place until it will eventually become a habit. And this is what spreads corruption throughout the earth, throughout the people. Then he says to them that baqiyatullahi, what remains lawful from Allah, it is khayrun lakum. It is best for you. Baqiyya is from the root letters ba, qaf, ya. And baqiyya literally means that which lasts. Ma kana lillahi baqiyya. What is for the sake of Allah, it remains, it lasts. Baqiyya is a noun and it is used for the remainder of something. That which remains. That which remains. The leftover. Like for example, you earn a particular amount of money in a month. For example, you get $100 as your pocket money. So, you spend it on your bus fare, you spend it on, let's say, buying some food, you spend it on buying some books, you spend it a little bit on your friends. Now, let's say you have $10 left at the end of the month. This is what? Baqiyya. The leftover that you have after fulfilling all of your needs, all of your responsibilities. Similarly, a man, he earns, let's say, $2,000 a month. Now, 500 goes in bills, 300 goes in groceries, 200 he gives to his wife, 300 he spends on his children, their fees, their clothing, etc. 300 he gives to his parents. Now, after all of that, he's left with a certain amount of money. When? After fulfilling the needs of others. After giving every person the right that they deserve. It's not that he is neglecting his family. It's not that he's neglecting his wife. It's not that he's neglecting himself, or he's neglecting his parents, or he's neglecting giving sadaqah in the way of Allah. After fulfilling everything, he has a little bit left over. For some people, it's a lot that is left over. And for other people, it's very little. For some people, it's nothing. So what does he say? That baqiyatullahi, what you have left over, the remainder that you're left with, after giving every person their due, that is better for you. That is much better for you. Than what? Than what you would acquire unlawfully. Than what you would acquire through unfair means. Than what you would acquire by reducing the rights of other people. Like for example, a person earns $1,000 and he has to pay $300 in bills. What does he do? He finds out a way through which he has to pay only $250. Now, in reality, he's cheating. He's paying only $250, whereas he's supposed to be paying $300. Now, if he was to pay the full price, then it would be $300 and he would be left with how much? $700. But he ends up paying only $250. So how much is he saving? $50 more. What does Allah say? If you're left with only a $700, that's much better for you than keeping $750. Why? Because that $50 that belongs to someone else, if you keep it, is that going to allow any barakah in your wealth? No. It's going to corrupt all of your money. It's going to take the barakah away from all the rest of your money. There is going to be no blessing, no increase, no happiness. You think you will have a lot, but in reality you don't have a lot. So baqiyatullahi, what remains lawful from Allah. Meaning what Allah leaves with you after you have given the rights of other people. After you have been fair to everyone. So the lawful earning that you have, that is much better for you than what you would acquire through unlawful ways. In kuntum mu'mineen, if you're truly believers. وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظ, and I am not upon you a guardian. If you look over here, he says, in kuntum mu'mineen. What does it show? That these people claim to be believers. They claim to be believers. It wasn't that they were disbelievers and they said, no, we don't accept you. We don't believe in God. We don't believe in messengers. And so on and so forth. No. They were supposed to be believers. In kuntum mu'mineen. But still, they were committing these mistakes. And he says, وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظ, I'm not a guardian over you. What does it mean by this, I'm not a guardian over you? That I am not responsible to recompense you for your deeds. I am only a warner. If you continue in your wrong ways, I cannot force you. I cannot punish you. If you cheat other people, if you don't measure, weigh properly, I cannot punish you. I'm not your auditor. I'm not your accountant. I'm not someone who should be calculating the taxes that you're supposed to pay. No, I'm just here to advise you. And your matter rests with who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will call you to account. He will audit you. He will take an account of all of your purchases and your sales and your income, etc., etc. Because, for example, at the end of each year, people have to file in their taxes. And many times people will find ways so that they can get away with it, so that they can avoid it. Now, it's not your haqq. It's not your right to keep that money. Even if you say, oh, I'm a Muslim, I'm living in a non-Muslim land, these people are kuffar, we can cheat them, we can deal with them however we want. No. You are living in this country and you've made a promise that you will pay this certain amount of money, this certain amount of percentage. You have to give it because it's the haqq of others. It's not fair for you to keep it. And if you keep it, other people might not be able to catch you. However, remember that Allah will catch you. وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظ. I'm not a guardian over you. I'm not going to watch every single transaction of yours. Allah is watching you. And Hafiz also gives a meaning of that I cannot protect you from the punishment of Allah. If you look at it, what are the teachings of Shu'ayb alayhi salam? What does he say to the people? That first of all, he says to them, worship Allah. U'budullaha. What else does he say to the people? That do not decrease from measure and weight. لا تنقصوا المكيال والميزان. Then he says to them, give full measure and weight in justice. أوفوا الكيل والميزان بالقسط. And then he says to them, do not deprive the people of their due. لا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم. Do not spread corruption on the land. لا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. Be content on what lawfully remains. بقية الله خير لكم. And at the end, what does he say? إن كنتم مؤمنين. If you are believers. So we also need to check ourselves over here. That if we are believers, are we doing these things? Are we following these instructions or not? If we are, then alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah. And if we're not, then we have to improve ourselves. We have to check ourselves. That, am I truly worshipping Allah as is His haqq? When it comes to giving other people their rights, am I particular? Am I careful? Or am I only concerned about my rights? Do I cheat other people? Do I reduce in giving the rights of other people? Do I give them in full, thinking as if I'm putting it in my own pocket? Am I careful or not? We have to be careful when it comes to these matters. So it shows to us that these people, they claim to be believers. And even today, many Muslims, they claim to be believers. But when it comes to doing these things, many are far. So we have to spread this awareness amongst ourselves and also amongst our families, our friends. Because something that is very common is work ethic, bad work ethic. Especially amongst, unfortunately, our Muslim brothers and sisters. That they will go to work late, they will come back early, they will leave in the middle, without even telling the manager. So if somebody in your family is doing something like that, we should stop them. It's not right. Similarly, if something belongs to the workplace, it's not their own personal property, and they bring it without permission, even if it's a pen, it's not their property. This is cheating other people. This is causing loss to other people. So we have to be careful ourselves, and we also have to warn other people, because the consequences are very severe. We learn in Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah number 100, that قُلْ لَا يَسْتَوِي الْخَبِيثُ وَالطَّيِّبُ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكَ كَثْرَةُ الْخَبِيثِ. That say, not equal are the evil and the good, although the abundance of evil might impress you. Khabith and tayyib, they're not the same. They're not equal. Even if the abundance of khabith, of the impure, it impresses you, it amazes you. So over here he tells them that baqiyatullahi khayrun. It's much better for you. Even if you think that if you gain a lot of money by cheating other people, and it impresses you, it pleases you, it amazes you, still, it's not good enough.